Hi everyone. As I'm Ashley. I've made a few speed painting videos on my channel, and yeah, I've been absent so much just in the past few years. And this video is not only just about Inktober, but I'd like to say a few things. I'd like to apologize for being so absent, and life's been kind of crazy lately. And now that it's kind of put together a little bit, I think I'm getting back into drawing now, and I figured since Inktober finally arrived, I decided that I wanted to record my very first participation in Inktober for this year in 2017, and I've been very, very excited about it. My boyfriend's kind of pushed me to draw more, and I've really wanted to draw so much. I don't know if it was whether it was art block or me just not being motivated enough to draw, or even I don't know. I think it was more of the motivation. But I'm here for the challenge of Inktober 2017, my very first Inktober participation, and I figured if I should record, I would have probably a better, you know, more view of how much I've improved, probably from, I don't know, maybe 10 years from now. But yeah, got my own little situation right now. Finally got some tools that I picked out and thought they were appropriate for what I had initially wanted for Inktober. And I decided to make my own calendar, actually. For this challenge, I decided to have the whole month drawing witches, and there's a theme for each witch for every day. And today we got witch, Bell Witch. So I decided to draw obviously a witch, but I wanted to incorporate bells in some sort of way, and I figured, have her more like a light-spirited kind of witch that, I guess I don't, but what I initially thought was I wanted her to have kind of a positive energy, and just something that I could actually go by. And lately I've been having like a lot of floral designs in my head, and I kind of wanted the bells kind of incorporated into that. I've been trying flowers and stuff on the hats and as like tattoos and stuff, and that's been a big part. That's been actually inspired by Jacqueline and a whole bunch of other artists that I know on YouTube. So big thanks to them. Their art is so inspirational. I'll leave a link in the description to their channels. But yeah, this piece, I don't know. I was not completely happy at the end of it, only because the paper decided to rip apart on the surface after I got done inking, and when I tried erasing it, it was starting to rip up the paper, and I was so sad. So I tried my best to keep it as, to where it won't completely destroy itself whenever I started doing the rest of the inking. But right now, I'm just sketching and erasing, sketching and erasing. I think that's all the advice I could probably give to anyone who is trying to get more solid lines, more, I guess, well shaded lines, I guess is what you could call them. But yeah, I was really happy with this one. And I'm really excited to see what tomorrow and all the other days will bring for Inktober. I didn't think I could probably pull this off because I feel like I can't finish anything. I can't finish I can't when I start something I can't finish it. So this is definitely a big challenge for me. I've realized lately that the tattoos that I try and work on, there's many different styles of ways that you can do tattoos, whether really blocky and really well shaded with black, or you can just make it as like a trace with like just a really small lines, and it still looks really, really good. Well, at least that's what I think. And that's the finished sketch piece, and so had so much eraser chunks everywhere. I do apologize about my face showing up in the video. I didn't really wasn't prepared for, oh my gosh, for my tripods and everything to be arranged right. I think the number one things to work on a sketch or a drawing of any kinds, I love to do the eyes and the hair. They're like the number one parts that I like to do. And for some reason, I seem to get those done first. I start with the eyes, or at least the face, and then work to the eyes and the hair that I like to do the most. I don't like saving the best for last or anything. Another good way I've learned that when you use a bold, thicker marker to trace around the edges of a drawing, it can make the drawing pop a lot more. And then use a smaller nibbed pen or marker and go through and just trace the rest. Now I'm just going in with my extra fine liner, going over in the fine details to make sure I'm getting every single line. And making the rest of the tattoos. I only wish now that I was able to do this sooner. This was really, really fun drawing for Inktober, and I've seen actually a couple of the couple people's designs and what they came up with for Inktober, and it's really awesome what people can come up with and create. Oh no, and this is where I started erasing and the paper was starting to tear apart. I was so sad. I'm still a little sad. So I have to go in very, very carefully and erase very, very lightly. Otherwise, I'm afraid I was probably gonna tear up the entire drawing. And I tried salvaging as much as I could so it didn't look bad. It's kind of hard to tell on the screen, but when you look up in person really, really close, you can tell it's very rough. And now I just fill in all the places that I want colored in with the black ink. And oh yeah, make sure it's all set down and sturdy for the Copics. I don't know about anyone else, but I love Copics. I love how they feel. I love the texture that it brings. I love how solid and well blended the markers are. I think the only thing that I don't really like about them is they bleed through really, really badly. They do. And I would definitely recommend getting the colorless blender. And because whenever you start brushing on it, if any of your other markers go past the line that you don't want it to, it can actually move the color over back across the line. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I don't have that many Copics. They're very, very expensive, and I am very lucky to have the few that I have so far, all thanks to my boyfriend, of course. Oh my gosh, my face is in the... And here I'm going through with my new watercolor brush. You just fill the brush in with, you fill it with water, and that way you don't need a cup. You can just squeeze on it and it pushes the water out itself. I thought that was really neat. It was surprisingly really, really cheap too. This is probably this is the second time I've used my watercolors in a while. And oh, this is my metallic lustre gold. It's what makes it's basically like watercolor, but you can usually, it's mostly used for like to brush on painting canvases, the borders of picture frames, to give it that gold like medieval kind of feeling to it. And I seen people can use it for watercoloring. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. There's a lot of things I think is really cool. I guess I'm just kind of lame. It goes on pretty light unless you fill it with more water, and then it gets a lot thicker. I had to go over it at least a couple layers to make sure it was good and solid. And it overlines the black lines really bad, so I had to go back over it with a black pen liner. Trying to figure out what I wanted to do. But you can find the metallic gold lustre over at any hardware store. Hobby Lobby is where I got it. And that's the nearly finished piece. I'm just doing some touch-ups and lining it a little better. And at this point, the paper was really wet, and I really didn't want to rip the paper anymore since it was already torn up, and now that I have it all wet, it just wanted to tear completely through. Making sure all the gold is outlined very neatly and it's all cleaned up. And that is the finished piece. Thanks guys for joining me. Bye.